Hello and thank you for watching my video. Today we're going to change out the rear brake line on a Honda VFR. It's going to be pretty much the same procedure on any bike with a hydraulic brake line. So the only difference really with the VFR is the routing. So the first thing we want to do when replacing any brake line is drain all the fluid out of the system. So that's what you see me doing now. Is I have my Mighty Vac vacuum pump connected to the bleeder valve, and I'm pulling all that nasty dark brown brake fluid from the system. This bike was just recently purchased, so one of the first things I do when I buy a bike is go completely through it. So this bike's gotten chains, sprockets, new brake lines, clutch lines, tires. I put a 5th generation VFR rear wheel on it, new brake pads, battery. Because it is a VFR, I did put a new rectifier on it, so I don't get stranded out in the middle of nowhere. So as you just saw, I just removed the banjo bolt from the rear brake caliper, and now I'm popping the brake hose from all the mounting brackets that are on the single-sided swing arm of the VFR and up through the chain guard. So the VFR is actually pretty easy to do. Everything's laid out. Once you remove the rear wheel, this brake line comes off very easily, and the new one goes on almost as easy. So over on the right side of the bike, we're going to remove the banjo bolt from the master and the reservoir assembly. So with the banjo bolt out, your old brake line comes right off and the new brake line can come on. If you look at your Galfer brake line, there will be a sticker that says master, and that's going to go to the master cylinder, the reservoir end. And with any new kit, you're going to get new banjo bolts and new crush washers. It's very important that you do not reuse the crush washers. The crush washers are a one-time use only. If you do decide to reuse your crush washers, please do me a favor and do not follow me. If your used old crush washer decides that it wants to leak, I don't want you behind me and not have any brakes when I need to stop. So what I did was I put in the banjo bolt and crush washers on the master, and I just left the hose loose right now, and I'm routing the hose back to the rear caliper. You'll find that the braided line is a little bit more difficult to put in because it is more rigid and it doesn't allow for a lot of play. So now we're lining up our brake line into the chain guard and around the swing arm to get it lined up so we can put the banjo bolt into the caliper. Again, we have a new banjo bolt and two new crush washers. And I can't stress enough not to reuse your old crush washers, but I'm sure somebody watching this video is going to. So as you see, it is kind of tricky to line this up because the braided line just doesn't want to flex like that rubber OEM line did. But once you get it in place and get it tightened down, your braking capabilities are just amazing over what that spongy old rubber hose did when you mashed on the brake. Between braided brake lines, the Galfer braided brake lines, and the EBC double H centered pads, what a difference a motorcycle's braking is. Both items, both the Galfer lines and the EBC HH pads, are just a very good upgrade to your brake system. So what I'm doing right now, I just tightened down the banjo bolt all the way, and I'm wiping off any .4 residue that might be on my caliper, because I'd like to keep my calipers looking nice and pretty and black instead of having corrosion set in. So somewhere I missed where I tightened down the master cylinder line and filled up the reservoir. But make sure you do tighten down the other end of the line and put fluid into your reservoir, and then we're going to pull the new fluid through the whole system. And that's a pretty tan color that's coming out into my Mighty Vac. It's a better color than what originally came through. So right now I have my system's bled and everything should be working properly. I just grabbed the canister of .4. I use CarQuest .4. That way I can throw some money at the local retailers in my area. And I'm going to pull another reservoir through the system. And usually after you pull 2 reservoirs through, you've gotten all the air out of the lines, and your bike is going to be almost ready to ride. So we tighten down our bleeder valve. We're going to top off our reservoir one last time. This is a 96 Honda VFR. Back in the day, they used to love to hide that rear brake reservoir and make it as difficult as possible to get to. But that's okay. The bike looked good. We're going to put our cap back on the reservoir. And this job is done. It is behind us. Good luck. I hope you appreciate the video. I hope it helped you out. This is a very easy task to complete. And do take the time to watch some of my other videos. Thank you.